Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, Jeffrey?
Nothing. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, brother. I'm very good. I just wanted to do a quick last minute live stream, and talk the state of the fandom and, talk about everything that's going on right now and stuff like that. I was doing a little space with Prime over at in the Twitter sphere, and I don't know if it was my phone. I don't know if what's up, the movie Raider? He said, yo, what up, T Flame and Jeff? I don't know if it was my phone. I don't know if it was, the internet or if it was something on their end, but we were doing this space. It was very interesting. Prime was hosting it, and a little talk space or whatever over on Twitter. And my shit it kept dropping. It kept dropping. I kept logging back in. Then I couldn't turn the mic on. Then I get the mic on. And then it said that the host muted your mic. And then I couldn't turn it back on. And then I left and came back. And then I got kicked and came. Yeah, it was hectic. It was so hectic, man. But they were talking about a lot of interesting stuff over there in that space. I told Prime and everybody, and to tell them that whoever's in that chat with them that they're doing right now, that I think it would be very interesting if they could all come over here for a little bit. That would be pretty cool, and everything like that. Hold on. Why am I hearing an echo? Hold on, Jeffrey. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. I fixed it. Okay. Yeah, there was a massive echo going on. Massive echo. But yeah, so they had some very cool talking points and everything. And yeah, it'd be pretty dope. If they could slide over this way. But yeah, Jeffrey, Jose Diaz, I see you. What's up, Jose? Like and appreciate this content. I like this video. Well, thank you. Pedro, Black Adam bomb. This is not good. Yes, we were gonna. You already know we was gonna talk about this. My spider senses were tingling. Black Adam bomb. This is not good. I pray Zaslav and Gunn have a solid plan until Snyder returns. Hey, we got Ray. What's up, y'all? What's up, Ray?
Hey.
But yeah, it's just yeah, man, it's Black Adam. Yeah, it's not looking good, guys. Again, it's just really not looking good. The box office now, they just updated it. And you know what's crazy to me? What's crazy to me, guys, they're still trying to spin this. They're trying to, WBD is trying to act like Black Adam is doing so freaking good at the box office. Like, every time this movie doesn't do good, the trajectory or the money it loses, they find a new way. When they reported on it making 352, it's finally at 352 million worldwide. And like a day ago, when it finally broke through that barrier, this article come out, a couple of articles come out and shit. They're like, Black Adam blast through 352 million. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, man. What do you mean it Like, are you serious? Like, you guys, this movie ain't even made back the money that they spent on it yet. And again, I'm not hating on the movie. I liked the movie. I thought it was decent. Thought it was good. Yeah. It was above average, but it wasn't great, and it damn sure wasn't a masterpiece. But I really appreciated seeing, The Rock's take on Black Adam and his introduction to the DCEU as we know it, and seeing our boy Henry Cavill finally return and don the red cape as Superman. So I mean that shit was great, but like I said, and I paid to go see the movie. I didn't boycott it and that shit. It's just a point. Like, can we call it how we see it? I mean, it is what it is. A bomb's a bomb, and this damn thing is bombing, and not in a good way. Like, yeah, it's just, I really hope that that Zaslav and Gunn do have a solid plan in place, because right now it's just it's looking like that they're just winging it. And again, I know that this movie is not. This is not a WBD movie. This is not a James Gunn movie. This is not a David Zaslav movie. So we do have to keep that in mind. Okay, but still, my point is what they should be taking from this is they should be concerned. They should be very, very concerned. Okay, go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah, because really, like I said, for me, like I thought it was a average movie. I thought it was a average movie. It was pretty good. I don't know what the movie was like before reshoots, but considering the reshoots that they did, which you can tell that they were kind of reshoots, like it was a pretty good movie. But it's just like looking at the box office and how it is, it really isn't looking that good, like you said. And I know people and people have been saying that this is the biggest box office that The Rock has in a leading role for a movie, and I am happy for him. But it's like still at the end of the day, you can still push that narrative of this being The Rock's biggest box office hit as a lead.
Right, and what they're doing, Jeffrey, is they're trying to use anything to try to make this look like a good thing. Like, yes, okay, you want to talk about the movies that Rock's done in Hollywood? Technically, yes, that it is. But here's the thing: they're conveniently leaving out the part about them spent almost $400 million to make this movie. I mean, they spent $200 million just on the budget. And then close to another $200 million, basically between the theater cut and then marketing, combined with what the $200 million budget, they spent almost if not $400 million, they spent pretty damn close to $400 million to make this movie. So it doesn't. Of course, this movie, of course, it's going to be the most. This is the most that a studio's ever invested in The Rock in a solo project, and gave a lot of creative control to. That's talking points that they should talk about, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to find a clever way to spin the narrative and make it sound like it's crushing records and it's doing this, and in reality, it's already got crushed by critics, which we don't give a damn about them. We as Snyderverse fans, we've been through the ringer with them. That don't mean shit to us specifically. But what does mean something though, is seeing this thing crawl. Like the update, it only got after having an update after almost a week and a half, it only went up $20 million, not even. So if it takes another week for this thing to go up $20 million, this thing is looking to leave theaters around $370 million worldwide. Tops. That's not fucking good. And again, what's up, Jeffrey?
Really, just no, you're pretty spot on because really, like you said, Black Adam is a good movie, and we don't really care about critics, but it's still really at the end of the day, you can say that this is the Rock's biggest movie that he's made in the box office, which I'm not denying. This definitely is his biggest box office, but it's just at the same time, looking at it from trying to make their money back, it's not looking good. And I really was hoping for this movie to succeed financially because it is a pretty good movie.
And the other thing is too, I'm wondering, what was this movie like before the reshoots? because
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
quick. Because I think that once the old regime left, that he had to basically kiss up to get this movie off the ground. Walter Amada and all them. As soon as they left, he's like, all right, Henry Cavill, we got to get Henry Cavill in here. And he got Henry Cavill back, and that's awesome. And then the other thing is he did, I know that scene with him floating up from the water in the third act, just like in Man of Steel, that was additional photography or reshoots that was added after the old regime left. Because he's trying like a mother freaker to put himself in, early Phase 1 Snyderverse. He's trying in his own way, but the tone of the movie was already slightly different than, it was already, you can still feel like all the moments that people complained about, which the general audience, not the critics bitched about everything in the movie, but the general audience, the only, the very few critiques that I feel were legit was the kid and the preaching like the oppressors, and shit like that, and it being cheesy, on some Shazam shit. Not even Shazam, like the tone, you can tell that there was definitely a different tone to this movie at one point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that they probably definitely cut some of the beginning of this movie to shorten the runtime, because it feels like there should have been a lot more fleshed out when it comes to the background of the establishing the woman and her job and her son and the history of Kondak. That seems like that should have played out in real time early on in the movie and been about over a half hour by itself. But I get it. They wanted to get right to the rock,
and that's and that's really confirmed already, because there is a R-rated cut of Black Adam.
Huh.
Because apparently, I don't know the specifics because they didn't really go into it, but they pretty much said something along the lines of they went through so many cuts to make it a PG-13 rating for the MPAA.
Which was a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because look, the movie's not doing that awesome. They should have just went all out, and word of mouth would have traveled, and people would have came around in the end.
Yeah.
But let's jump into this comment by Hunter Iggy. What's up, Hunter Iggy? He says, "Strong on Flix, I have a question for you. Do you think the DCU will honor Kevin Conroy passing in the DCU? What do you think, Jeffrey?"
I think they should. Definitely.
But do you think that they will? That they will honor him in the DCU?
I do think... I don't know about Aquaman, but I think if we are going to get I think they might do a additional thing for the Flash, since
that's what I was just gonna say. Hell yeah.
Yeah, they might be able to squeeze something in there for the Flash for additional photography, because I think that would be the perfect place to do it. I don't think if they were to do it, I think they would definitely do a tribute to him in the Flash.
Okay. Interesting. And the thing is too is they really need to do something special for him, because I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say he was as big to he was, you know what, I will say it, fuck it. He was as important to DC, almost as important to DC as Stan Lee was to Marvel. Now,
yeah.
I feel like that was our Stan Lee. You know what I mean? Not again.
Yeah.
I mean, no, he didn't create and do all these multiple things, but we hold him, we endear him that much. What he's done, the amount of time that he's been around, the amount of many different variations and amount of work that he's put in between the video games, between the animated movies, between the cartoons. You know what I mean? Between live action, he did Crisis on Infinite Earths on the CW. I actually dig the Crisis. I didn't really dig any of the CW shows, except for the Flash. But by the time they got to the Crisis event, after that, I was done watching all CW shows. I'm like, all right, like this is just getting played out. They started getting real woke with the feminism and all that shit on the CW. That's my personal opinion. You know, everybody, Superman and Lois, I liked that show. That was its own thing. I like how they removed it from the Arrowverse. I really liked, I did like that. But, you know, he was in live action playing like Batfleck almost. You know, he was talking, you know, Kevin Conroy was like a Batman Beyond, but he had the armored suit, kind of like, but it was keeping him alive and he had to wear it in his version. And he had killed Superman. In his universe, he did kill Superman, though. He went through with the shit. Like, it was like the worst outcome of BVS. If it would have happened, that was his universe. That's what. And, you know, and, you know, and it was so dope seeing him, you know, finally be able to really actually play Batman. And it sucks that he didn't live just a little bit longer. Sucks that he didn't live just a little bit longer to actually be able to get a straight up solid Batman Beyond movie. DC are complete jackasses. The fact that they didn't think about doing that with him a long freaking time ago, because he looked totally fine to me playing an old man Bruce Wayne. You know, he doesn't need to be all buff and shit. You know what I mean? He's playing a Batman Beyond Batman, you know? They should have, dude, you know how fast tickets would have sold out if they would have really invested some big money into it and really, like, made him the actual Batman in the movie Batman Beyond, you know?
Yeah.
And either way, though, all that aside,
that really would have been special.
Yeah, it would have. So, you know, to answer your question, I do think at some point they'll do something. If they don't, that's messed up, man. But I really do think that they will do something, possibly with the Flash, or possibly a little sooner than that. But we'll have to see. And Ray says, "Flop Adam, the movie Raider. I feel like if Michael Jackson was alive, he would have made a good Silas Stone in Zack Snyder's Justice League." Yo, man. Yo, chill. Oh, God. I'm excited and impressed with Black Adam. I'm looking forward towards Black Adam's sequel. And so am I, Jose Diaz. So am I. But right now, that's to be foreseen if they're going to greenlight that. I mean, I absolutely think it's a no-brainer. I thought the movie was decent and didn't force no propaganda down our throat. You know, there wasn't no woke bullshit for the most part in it. No men are bad, grr. Bullshit. And, you know, it was just, you know, it was mildly entertaining, had its moments, and had a banger of Henry Cavill return in it. So, I think it did its job for the most part. It could have been better, but it was good. I liked it. And, you know, mainly knowing the passion that The Rock had to get that movie made, fighting with them and fighting to get Henry back. To me, that earned my ass in a seat, you know, in a ticket, you know, right off rip.
Yeah.
Jose released the Ayer cut. And Pedro, starting forward, they need to stop cutting stuff off. Just release the film as intended. If it's too long, take 20 minutes out, but don't alter too much where it's noticeable. Yeah, and that's the problem. You know, there is necessary edits to all movies. Some, you know what I mean? Always. You know, you got to focus on the movie, the story you're telling. It's not unnatural for regular cuts to be made here and there, snips. But when it starts getting to the point where, like, you watch the movie and you're instantly, like, having to be told by flashcards and shit, like, what the freak's going on, who the freak this character is, you're like, dude. You know, like clearly there's a lot missing. You know. Yeah. I've asked T-Flame before, but what are Jeffrey's thoughts on The Incredible Hulk 2008? I fucking love it. That's my favorite one. That's the one with Edward Norton. But he's asking you though, Jeffrey.
Really, for me, for me, it's personally on my top 5 MCU movies. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, same here. I really wish that they would have kept Edward Norton moving forward but then again, I don't know, because look what they end up doing with the Hulk, man. Dude, I need to quit talking about it, and we need to make an episode. I've been telling you guys on here for too long that we were going to do an episode breaking down the whole story of the MCU's Hulk and where they went wrong and why. And because the Hulk is one of my favorite. The Hulk and Wolverine, and Venom are like my 3 all-time favorite Marvel heroes ever. But yeah, the movie Raider. I could listen to T-Flame talk all day about his thoughts on woke culture and DC shows.
Really, I just ignored it.
Kevin Conroy said Ben Affleck Batman was the best Batman. And that's what solidified Kevin Conroy as a GOAT, even though he was already a damn GOAT.
Yep.
All right. Ray said he could have been Batman in the 90s and early 2000s. That would be better than what we got until BVS. Yeah? Yeah, that would have been great. They should have. But see, they were so not thinking outside of the box back then, man. Like, that shit didn't even cross their minds, man. Look, like, they've been run by, like, such an out-of-touch with reality, CEOs and executives that, Warner Brothers, it's surprising that they've given us what they've given us, because they have been the most incompetent studio, like, company, like, ever. And they have been for quite some time. And
really, that's really kind of like the messed up part. Like, I keep saying, I do feel bad for the new regime, and I've always said that because sadly they're taking up at the leftovers of what the old regime did, because today they just revealed, David Zaslav revealed that they lost $3 billion on HBO alone last year. And I'm like, how can you mess that up to lose $3 billion in a year on one property? Like, that is just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's just, Jason Kilar really wasn't who he pretended to be, we're starting to see. Early on, we thought that, he was an advocate of ours, a friend, and no, dude, he was in there trying to get his dough, and he was covering up shit and doing shady business practices and helping screw over top-notch directors, and a couple of them walked away from Warner Brothers, and they had a 20-year working relationship with them.
Yep, and the most popular one being Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Like, he was the most popular one.
Yep, he sure was, man, and they still haven't repaired them relationship. So anyway, guys, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about is, I just, I don't see, where we go from here when it comes to what's next. Like, I don't know, because, like, what's going to be happening from here on out? Like, how is James Gunn and DC Studios going to relay the information to us fans about what they're working on? Because I mean, are we just not going to know the 10-year plan that they're working on until they release all the other two movies, the Aquaman and Flash movie? Like, are we like until they release them in the next 2 years? We got to wait 2 more years of just dead silence, waiting to see if the movies bomb before they're going to say something. Like, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section. Like, do you think like that there's going to be some and I'm wondering, is there going to be a certain form of communication that they're going to establish to give us regular updates, other than it being leaked to the trades once a year about big things, like,
Yeah, because
that's the old way of thinking. That's the old regime's way, and all the way back, and that shit it disconnected them from their fans to the degree that they fell out of touch with what people actually wanted, and ran the studio into the ground, broke, and had to sell off their assets like 2 or 3 different times now in the last couple of years. So clearly, I would hope that James Gunn and everybody else in Zaslav are smart enough to understand that they need to establish a pipeline of communication between them and the fans, one that was unlike anything that was ever there before. And that shouldn't be hard to do, because prior, there's been absolutely no form of communication. We're sitting here waiting for year after year to see them one time a year at fucking Comic-Con, and then they don't even show up to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's pandemonium.
Yep, and really, like, that's really kind of like the thing too. Like, they weren't they canceled DC Fandom for this year, which is really understandable, because this is a new slate. You're trying to make a new plan, so this year's cancellation of DC Fandom, it makes sense. So this time I'm giving it a pass, because that makes sense. You're trying to come up with a new plan and stuff, and really it's the same thing for San Diego Comic-Con. You're trying to make a new plan and stuff. So them missing out on those events, I completely 100% understand, because you're making a new plan. So really, what's going to happen is that a lot of people are going to go into next year thinking, what's your 2024 and what's your 2024 and above slate going to be? Because as of right now, there's nothing for 2024.
Right, exactly. And we're on the cusp of 2023. I mean, we're almost to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I want to answer this question right here. The Movie Raider. What are your guys' thoughts on the canceled movie Superman Flyby? In my opinion, it sounds crazy as fuck.
I honestly don't know any of the details. All I know is that J.J. Abrams was involved with it. Other than that, I don't know anything else.
So right here, Superman Flyby. This was and we'll talk about J.J. Abrams in a minute. But his script on Superman Flyby was finished and completed, turned in 2002. J.J. Abrams' Superman Flyby was an origin story that included Krypton, besieged by a civil war between Jor-El and his corrupt brother, Zor. Is that Zor-El? Or what's that say? Kata-Zor? Zor-Kata? Zor-Kata? I don't know. I was assuming it was Zor-El, but maybe he has a different brother or some shit. Sentences Jor-El, but anyway, before he sentences Jor-El to prison, Kal-El is launched to Earth to fulfill a prophecy. Adopted by Jonathan and Martha Kent, he forms a romance with Lois Lane, the Daily Planet. However, Lois Lane is more concerned with exposing Lex Luthor. Okay, so this sounds a lot like what they're doing, what they did on, hold on the show Krypton that was canceled. This sounds a lot like like they took some working pieces from the script for Krypton, because if you think about Krypton, right?
Yep.
Even though it's set in the what is it, in the past?
Yep.
That's exactly what this is, set in the past, right?
Yep.
And they send launch Kal-El off, right? But there's a civil war between Jor-El and his corrupt brother. That's basically what was going on. They were at like a civil war in Krypton. They launched him to Earth to fulfill a prophecy. They literally used the word prophecy a couple of times in the show Krypton. They didn't get far enough into the show before it was canceled to show no Lois Lane or nothing. You know, but it sounds dope. But here's the thing: if it would have came out in 2002, I don't think it would have been any very good. Based on the kind of Superman that they were doing back then, we know how that would have turned out. Superman Returns. It would have been like that kind of style, and I don't think it would have really worked. And I think that's why they didn't do it, because they weren't down with, that's the thing though, because this is something that I would have been interested in seeing. But this is something that I think that Zach would have been able to handle very well if he wanted to, and could, because this is really kind of his style, in a sense. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of like the gist. There's a lot more to it. We don't need to read everything, but there's a lot more to it. But he said, oh, hold on, the movie Raider. Lex would have been revealed to be an alien at the end. Oh wow.
Oh wow. Okay, that's a choice.
Not a fan of. People said not a fan of J.J. Abrams. Isn't he against? I don't know if he's against Snyder. I really don't. But I'm not a fan of J.J.
I don't
Abrams.
think
They've had a contract. Dude, the old regime paid J.J. Abrams like what was it, like close to $500 million. I don't know how much money they gave this dude to put out content, and I don't know what happened, because they gave him all the dough, and we still they didn't get a single project from J.J. Abrams. There's Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. We still ain't got a single project from JJ. What up, Prime?
What's good with it?
Oh, not much. We saw talking to the movie Raider. He was talking, bringing up something that kind of flew over my radar. He was talking about Superman Flyby that was canceled, or not canceled, but never came to fruition. I looked it up, and it sounded kind of interesting. I'm not a huge fan of Abrams, but it was an Abrams project. It says they turned in the script in July 2002. And a little bit about it. It says, Flyby was an origin story that included Krypton besieged by a civil war between Jor-El and his corrupt brother, Zor. I think it's supposed to say Zor-El, but it says Zorkata. Or Zorkata. It says, and then his brother Zor sentences Jor-El to prison. Kal-El is launched to Earth to fulfill a prophecy, adopted, and then most of that, is the same as we know it. However, Lois is more concerned about exposing Lex Luthor, and then there's something about a UFO phenomenon, and then Homeboy said that at the end of it, that Lex Luthor would have been revealed to be an alien at the very end. Or something like that. But yeah, I never really, it kind of flew over my radar. I didn't really know a lot about it. And other than the Lex Luthor thing, I was saying to him, that really sounds very similar to what they did with the canceled sci-fi show Krypton, with them being at, the two brothers being, the brothers being at war and all that stuff, talking about a prophecy and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But that show didn't get very far along to get to like all the rest of stuff to see how different it would have turned out. But I wonder if they took a couple of those script talking points, and adapted some of it in Krypton.
Oh man.
But yeah, I was what's up?
No, I'm just looking at some of the comments in your chat. So, just to correct somebody, J.J. Abrams didn't bankrupt WB. WB bankrupt themselves. The whole regime bankrupt them. So yeah, we have to get that straight.
Well, yeah, I think where some of the confusion is with that is that, it wasn't J.J. Abrams. WB and their bad decisions over and over again did that to themselves. But I think what he's talking about is, you remember back, was it a couple years ago? Where
signed that contract?
Yeah, and the old regime gave him a buttload of money.
$500. They gave him $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And he didn't put out a single piece of content.
Nope.
So I believe that's what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying in that comment.
That 500. That 500. Well, it was half of $1 billion. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy. $500 million.
Yeah.
The bad thing about that was that it wasn't that. Now, if we go back and look at the contract, now I don't know if he got a bonus up front. I have to go back and look at the actual contract because you can, because it's public. But his contract, I don't know, he got half of it up front. I think the rest of that had to do with completed IPs. So he didn't bankrupt, but he didn't get all the money. Now, if he did get all the money by doing certain stuff, that's completely different. That means he basically got $1 billion to do not a goddamn thing. So, wow. It all depends. But I know for fact he got part of that as a upfront settlement, an upfront signing bonus, if you want to get technical. So,
but still, that's outrageous. Like, and whatever happened, I mean, like, they can't make him just give the money back, right? I mean, that's his now, ain't it? That $500 million.
You said what?
I said, so how does that work exactly? Because they can't make him like give the money back. Like,
no, because it's under the terms of the contract. You can't once you depend on the terms and the conditions of the contract. Let's go. I'll give you a perfect analogy. Like in the NFL, when they get a contract.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
When they sign in the NFL, this is why cats want to get the signing bonus. The money after that's allocated after the years ain't shit. Because when you get a signing bonus, let's just say your contract, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying this actually happens, but let's just say you got let's just say your contract was $200 million. I'm just going to throw it out there, okay? No, you know what? I'm going to give you the perfect one. I live in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, okay? He got that big ass contract, right? But when he signed his name on the dotted line, he got $250 million of that money up front.
Damn. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When you do a signing bonus, that's what they get. You got some cats that might get a $200 million contract, but they signing bonus is $70 million. That means they're going to get that $70 million off the bat right up front. The rest of the money is allocated and broken down over the years. But the signing bonus money is what you want, because you're going to get majority of it right out the gate in your pocket. The money that's allocated over the years, even though it's on your contract, if they void your contract, you won't get the rest of the money, or they ask you to give it back. The signing bonus money they can't get back because they already gave it to you.
Wow. So he's loaded, and there ain't shit they can do about it now.
That's why cats be looking for that. In the NBA, it's not like that, but in the NFL, it's like that. Really that's why they look for a signing bonus. So when they say, well, he getting this such and such of money, but they giving him $40 million up front from the signing bonus, you be like, God damn, they gave him all that just to sign his name on the dotted line. You get that money in your hand, in your pocket, and you ain't even played a down yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I really wonder, when Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, did that throw a monkey wrench into the old regime's plans, and then they just had already threw him the dough and couldn't do nothing about it? It was like, you know what? We're not going to do no Justice League movies now.
No, because he didn't want the money. When the proceeds and everything that Zack had already got through his contract, his money is already there. Zack got paid already. They can't do anything to him. That's why Zach didn't give a fuck about doing the actual Snyder Cut, because he already got paid for his money for the movie.
Right.
It was a passion project for Zach. It was more passion than anything. He already got paid. He didn't. That's why he said he don't have to get paid. He already got paid.
Yeah.
So they just had to upfront the money for him to do it. This is the misconception that people fail to understand. They've spent $70 million, but they didn't get a profit. Yes, they did get a profit, because that $70 million to get it done went to the profit of people signing up to HBO Max, which is the platform, which we don't really have all the actual concrete numbers, but a lot of people did sign up for HBO Max. Yeah. At the time, it wasn't a black, and they was ahead of schedule. Now that we know that it was fabricated by the old regime and lied to Warner Brothers Discovery, Zasloff and company, now they got to step back and be like, oh shit, right? Because they really fucked up a lot of shit. Yeah, so you got to look at it like that when it comes down to this money and these contracts. People think that stuff is just easy. No, it's not. There's a lot of red tape with that mess.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of red tape. There's a lot of red tape. What they did gain money with, now the money that they did regain back, and what they did get back is through what? It's through DVD sales. So whatever it is that they got through those sales, they got some of their money back. Not all of it, they got some of it.
Yeah, and merch too.
And merch. There you go. Merchandising, yes.
Yeah. And I do know that they, they sold out like fat over and over again when the movie first came out, on Blu-rays and 4K, DVD and all that, So, I would say that they for sure got their money back, they 70 million or close to it, if not.
No, they didn't get 70 million. I'm going to tell you that right now. They didn't get 70 million.
I mean, like in a total between the amount of the amount of people that I don't know how many if they get paid for views, but I mean the amount of people that tuned in and subscribed combined with the sales and the merch, and I don't know. I think it was a good. They didn't really lose a lot on that. You gotta remember, you still gotta pay the middleman.
Right. So that don't mean you got all your money. So let's just say, let's go with merch, because that's pretty much where DC get most of their profits anyway. It's through merch. It's through the actual copyright proceeds. That's from, hats, socks, shoes, anything that got a logo of anything that's DC, cereal, ads, toys, comic book. Well, comic books don't make no sales no more like that, but they will. Video and games. Anything that has a DC logo from a character, they're going to get a profit of it, depending on how the percentages are allocated and how it's broken up. So I would say they might get They might get let's just say, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's just say they get 40%.
Right.
So they get 40% of the profits or whatever that comes in from the merch. But you forget, you got to pay the people that make the shirts. Then you got to pay the people that distribute it. And then the people that actually take your product so it could be sold. Or they're getting the money for the copyright stuff because they own the properties. Yep. That's the reason why they probably get the bulk of the actual profits, because of the copyright, because they own the properties. But all the other stuff, you got to pay. Everything that you got to do in sales, everybody is in there. It's a third party. Unless they took their shit, they made their own stuff, and they sold it straight through themselves without no third parties. If it wasn't no third parties, they're going to have 100% of the profits. Then that's where you're going to make money. But no, it's just like in theaters. When you put a movie out, they're going to get their profit, but the theater got to get their profit. You see what I'm getting? Yeah. So, right. But that's how they go.
Something I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know why when we were in that little Twitter space, we were talking, man. I kept getting kicked out or dropped from it, and then it was the connection or something. When I had it, I thought it was my phone acting up. The window that kept opening for the chat and shit, it kept opening by itself and then closing. I got on my PC, and instead of doing the same shit,
it was probably the damn thing. Twitter been acting up for a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just letting you know though. I was trying to participate in it. I wasn't trying to be annoying. I kept trying to turn the mic on.
Oh, I know. Everybody was falling in and out. I saw it.
No, I was trying to. I was trying to respond to somebody you had on the panel too. But there's like a lot. I was listening to them and them two on there that were big Superman fans and shit, and they was talking about that, Batman always get all the shine and Superman don't, and hasn't been, and that they really want a Man of Steel too. And I'm like, yeah, I think most of us want to see more Superman, and maybe even see and definitely see a Man of Steel too. But like a lot of people like don't know, it's like he was, like you were saying, initially Zach was gonna do a Man of Steel too. And when he made that 5-film arc, the studio, when they come to him and they was talking, they wanted to hurry up at that point and try to catch up to Marvel. They wanted to cram pack all this shit. So he came up with the 5-film arc, trying to, meet their wants and needs, working with them. And it still would have been epic, but that's not per se the way he would have done things, Zach himself, back then. And since then, he's even revised, what his story is gonna be if they ever fucking do it, which that's to be foreseen. You know what I'm saying? Yep. He hinted at that already, and he's flat out said it, but he hinted at it like, hey, the new revised storyboards are already done for whatever it is he would do moving forward. But my thing is like, I want this new Superman, but I do absolutely believe like that I don't, that they try to give us this cheese, man. This, and not the good kind. Like,
it's wait.
And not like, it's just like, it's like a double-edged sword, because it's like on one hand, we got Henry Cavill back. We might be. It looks like we might go and get a Man of Steel too, which is great. But it's like, the way that cameo was, man. With the way they cranked up that saturation, trying to put them brighten them colors up, and put that perfect swirl on there. And the yellow was so bright that it looked orange. Then they used the classic Williams theme. Like, to me, I don't think they could or could not do that kind of version, right? But it's looking like with what they left us with, and that's all we have to go off of, that if that's what they're trying to do, I'm not trying to see that shit. We already had that in Justice League, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you have to look at it like this, okay? And I think a lot of people need to start coming to terms to reality is that the Snyderverse is not coming back. It's not. And I don't know why people are really thinking that it's going to come back. It's not. Because if you're not really paying attention, this is why I try to explain people as much as I can, not to discourage people. You have to remember is that they're going to do this to get the general casual audience.
But see, that's not working for them though.
No, it's going to backfire, but they're going to have to find out for themselves. Right. And even with the new regime, this is what, if y'all don't know what's going on in comics, just comics by themselves. All right. Now we have to actually see what James Gunn and Chevron, what their plan is that's going to be mapped out. We're probably not going to get that full map out until sometime next year. Now, if they still happen to do it at the end of this year, fantastic. That's great. But the only reason why I say next year, sometime in the middle, is because you got to remember there's 3 DC movies that are coming out next year. That's going to set the tone and the table of what's going to move forward, because they did course correct on these films. Yeah. So just for the whole year. So we're going to get 3 DC films next year. Now, alongside that, and what I said in the actual space, and some people got triggered and saying that, but you have to look at it.
I heard.
you have to look at it from this, because I've read the new, and I don't know if people have read it, but I'm just trying to tell. I tweeted it out today so people can actually see. But if people don't know, comics is going back. They are eradicating anything after Rebirth. You know that, right?
I've heard some talk about it, but I didn't know it was that to that degree. But
right, that's why when they did,
because I know that you really know your shit when it comes to that. So
when they did DC Rebirth was supposed to correct and put DC back to the former continuity that it was back in the Gold and Silver and Bronze Age. Because when they did the New 52, the New 52 was only constructed because of Flashpoint. So that's why New 52 came about, because of Flashpoint.
Wait, hold on then, because this makes things much more confusing then. Because I know what I think I know what you're going to say. You're going to say that they're going to be focusing on the future slate, like the DC future slate, the next generation of heroes, that sort of thing, right? Now that obviously.
Talk about going backwards?
No, like about them going forwards in this.
Actually, they're going backwards. They're pulling the past and bringing it into the present.
Okay.
So if you read the new Flashpoint, book, that is what it is. So that's why. So people can fully understand it. Rebirth, when they did it, was to put everything back in order, but they went away from that and they went with Future State. That's when Rebirth stopped, because they say they wanted to do something else. That's when you got all this crazy stuff. You got Future State, you got the new John Kent, that's a gay dude. You got the gay dude Batman. You got all this crap. Right. You got all this crap that was going on right now. That's why you have Infinite Dark Crisis now. They're getting rid of that universe and they're going to rehash it and going back. So basically what's happening, if you read the Flashpoint, which I'm reading, if you read it, which is a very, very good story, don't get me wrong, but it's going to flip you out when I tell you. They're taking the past. So they're going from the 1940s, starting with the Justice Society and bringing them into the present. So what they're doing is that they're bringing Rebirth back, but they're going to put comics back to how it was in the 1940s. Well, not in the way in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. They're bringing all those characters on the way they was back at that time and bringing them into the present. So that Superman that we know, we're not getting that. We getting the Superman that's from the 60s and the 70s. That Wonder Woman that we know, they bringing that Wonder Woman back from that time. Y'all get where I'm getting from?
Yeah.
So they're bringing that, right. They're bringing them back, and that's what we're going to get. So anything that happened from Rebirth 2 is gone. They're trying to eradicate anything that happened prior. They want to go back to the golden age of comics. The golden silver age of comics, that's what they want to do and bring back for the new audience. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to flop. Yes, it's going to be nostalgic for some people, meaning like people that's in the 80s and 70s and 60s. You can get away with that, but they're not reading comics. You're trying to introduce this stuff to a new generation of people. It is not going to work.
Right,
if you want to win,
because this new generation of people, most of them, you know what I'm saying, that are going to that are supporting all the content, you know what I'm saying, most of them is a little younger than me and all the way back. And they're on their phones, they're on the internet, they want to see what they, you know what I'm saying, like they're not, times have changed so much, you know, you got, you know, people with blue hair doing dabs and shit, and you know, it's like people, the disconnect is, my point is, the disconnect is going to be something real. It's going to be something serious.
I mean, you can bring it. That's true, but then you can bring the stories back so they can actually read it, so they can try to get into that lore.
Yeah,
you can do that, but then you have to remember this too, and this is a key thing that a lot of people did not. I have to say this because I'm quoting this from the DC documentary. Okay. This is the problem. All that stuff that happened at that time when DC was at its peak in that time. What happens to you as a kid? When you were a kid, you're going to eventually become what?
A man. an adult.
You're gonna become a grown-up, right? You're gonna grow up. Those stories that you read as a kid, they're not going to be relatable to you. That's why DC went mature. That's why DC went dark. That's why DC went serious in their books and anything that they adapted. Because that audience got older.
Right.
You can't go back to that. These kids nowadays, they're not going to do that. These kids nowadays are not stupid. They're going to look at this stuff and they're going to read that stuff and be like, this shit cheesy as fuck. So they're not, that's what I'm saying. So the stuff that is now, for instance, let's go with Superman. You could take a lot of people and say that, let's just go with Man of Steel. Man of Steel is the movie that made them like Superman. Because there's a lot of people, they know of Superman, they don't like the character because he was boring. They wasn't interested in the character. Man of Steel made them interested. Why? Because it made him relatable.
Yeah. It showed the man. It showed the man behind the Superman. You know what I'm saying? It's like seeing the man behind the curtain and seeing him struggle just like everybody else and eventually find his place in the world. You know, more grounded and more serious, and there's consequences to your actions.
Right. Exactly.
And this is the other thing too. Like I'm probably the youngest person on this panel right now. Like I've just turned 23, so I'm still pretty young, and really what Prime and T-Flame are saying, like they might be harsh, but still they're really kind of right, because I'm going to name drop two shows that I still like from a kid up until now, and that's Avatar: The Last Airbender and the original Ben 10 show from the early 2000s. And the reason why I bring those two shows up is because even though they are kids shows, Avatar being from Nickelodeon and Ben 10 being from Cartoon Network, respectively, those two shows were still grown-up shows as you get older, because as you grow older, you're in Avatar, they're talking about genocide, a genocide of a whole nation, and really a lot more adult stuff about having this 12-year-old kid having to grow up to save the entire world in less than a year. And you're also about this 10-year-old kid who's a normal 10-year-old goofball kid who literally just stumbles upon the most powerful device in the universe, and he has to learn to grow up real quick, because he realizes that he has the most powerful device in the universe. And both of these shows, even though they're like kid shows, like I said, they evolve as you grow up.
Yep.
Right. So they're layered is the point. You know what I mean? Right.
That's the problem. And that's a good thing. So that's why I say things are going to, actually, I'm gonna give y'all a perfect example. Like the thing that, as a fan, what I've been waiting for decades now, and we're probably going to get one, if it so happened to stick. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We have never had a real adult, mature Ninja Turtles movie. We never had one.
Yeah.
If people actually read the actual comics, they're very adult.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the black and white ones, the original ones.
Yep, I know.
Yes, right. Those are not for kids. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the original stuff. So the reason why we're probably going to get it, they're in the talks of making it, because Nickelodeon is the one that is obstructing this. For people that don't know, Nickelodeon has the rights to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now.
Yep.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, they do. They do. And,
So
and really, like the closest, and real quick, the closest one that we've gotten to a adult TMNT was the TMNT movie.
first one.
No,
The very first one, the one that was in 90, the one in 1990.
It was I'm talking about the animated one.
The animated one? Oh, okay. You talking about
the animated one.
Damn, which one was that one?
There was a one of, what was it, like hell, 8-7 years ago? There was one. Wasn't there there was a real life adaptation of it, but it wasn't adult, like, you know.
There's one that's mature. I can't think of it. But Nickelodeon wasn't the holder of the wasn't the holder at the time. It was dang.
The one in 2007 is the one I'm talking about.
Right. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was God dang it. I know exactly what it is. They had a mature one, and this is before Nickelodeon got their grimy hands on the property. Yeah, I can't think of it. I can't think of it just yet. It'll come to me. But yeah. And that's why I'm trying to tell people, it all depends on the company. It's crazy. That's why a lot of people have been trying to say Nickelodeon need to let it go. Because we've been wanting a real mature Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. You can still stick to the characters, but you've never got a real serious where they are grounded. The closest movie that was close, that was real serious, was the 1991. So, and that was the very, very first live action Ninja Turtles movie. And if y'all noticed that, you wasn't even alive then, Jeff. Oh, yeah, no. You was born what?
I watched it a few years ago, actually. And yeah, you're right.
No. You wasn't even conceived. I don't know about you, Strong.
Oh, when it came out. Yeah, when it came out, yeah.
Yeah, you wasn't conceived. So what I'm saying is that at that time, for the people that don't know, when that movie came out, it was one of the best movies at that time. But the parents were complaining. So if you watch part 2 and part 3, you will see how the tone changed from the first one, because the parents were complaining, talking about it was too violent, it was too dark. But that was the most high grossing movie at the time, and one of the best. Secret of the Ooze was cool, but you can see what they did. They toned it down dramatically.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And the third one, oh God, they toned it down like, whoa. So you can see the dynamic on what it was, on how they changed it at the time because of that at that time. When that movie came out, I was 14.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was 14 when the first Ninja Turtles came out. I was in middle school. So, and we rushed to the theater to go see that. I saw that movie 3 times in one day. I paid for the first one, and we stayed in the theater. We hid in the back. So we hid in the back, because at that time you could stay in the theater. You could stay in the theater and hide and watch it again.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what we did. That's what we used to do. And we watched it 2 more times that day for free.
Wow.
Yeah. So but yeah, that's what it was back at that time. And it's tripped out once you learn the history on how it was and how it changed. They still do it to this day, but it's more magnified now because of social media. At that time, they were writing letters. They were having women they had mothers and people going on Donahue and Oprah and shit, complaining, all that shit. Trust me, it was a trip.
It was a trip.
You said what?
You said they put on Oprah?
Yeah, it was on Oprah. They was bitching and complaining, tripping and shit. Like, so at that time, I'm like, man, y'all don't have no idea, bro. Y'all have no idea. But yeah, you have to look at it. So the times, even though the situation might change, I mean, it's still the same. It's just the way it's conducted is just different. That's all.
Right.
So you gotta look at it like that. So that's why I say when it comes down to DC, we'll see on how they're going to construct this moving forward. But it's going back. I believe it's going to backfire. The comics will be fine. We're just talking about them trying to do it in movies because I believe that the people that be bitching and whining about that shit and don't know shit, they're not going to support it. They're not going to even go watch it. It's the same thing that goes on with all this woke stuff that go on. With all the woke stuff and they be complaining, they don't even support the shit.
Yeah, the people, exactly. The people that they're pandering to, they don't pay for that shit. They don't go see it. They don't support it. You know, we're the ones that get stuck having to deal with that nonsense. And every time it don't turn out good for them because they end up losing go woke. You know the saying, go get woke, go broke, or however that goes. Yeah. But I got an odd question for you, Prime, from the Movie Raider. He said, I'm kind of curious about Prime's opinion on this one. Would Michael Jackson have made a good silent star in Zack Snyder's Justice League if he were still alive today?
Hell no.
He said, hell no.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell no, man. Michael Jackson can't act, man. The only time Michael Jackson acted was in one movie. He was in the Eyes.
Oh, shit. But no,
yeah, Michael Jackson.
Honestly, when Michael was alive, I liked Michael's throwbacks and shit like that. But like as an actor in a property that I hold that dear, all I would see is damn Michael Jackson, and I don't care how good he tried to do, and that's nothing against him. But I don't know. I don't think so.
No, Mike was as a musician, fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
When he did his videos and stuff, and he being an entertainer, fantastic, phenomenal. But for him to be an actor,
right?
Don't get me wrong. When you see young Michael, if y'all decide to do this, if you really want to know Michael Jackson's acting, if you really want to know, watch The Eyes. It's one of the best films, a musical that's ever been done. So for a black film, I'm gonna have to watch that's the black version of the Wizard of Oz. It's The Eyes. Okay. So if you watch The Eyes, I got Michael Jackson. They got Diana Ross. It got who else is in that? Damn, I should know all these motherfuckers. I haven't seen that shit already. But it has a star-studded cast, and it's a musical. And that was Michael Jackson's first movie. So that he was in. Yeah.
I want to talk about this real quick with you, and you already know what it is. Let's talk about this elephant in the room. All right. I know we talked about it briefly, but so if you remember, Prime, when this movie was coming out opening weekend and all that, right? You know, all the headlines was Black Adam smashes through something barrier. Black Adam crushes through in the highest weekend ever, biggest opening. Then it come out, biggest opening the Rock's ever done for a movie in his career, right? Why is it that the narrative didn't change until Black Panther, or not Black Panther, Wakanda Forever? Sorry, Wakanda Forever comes out, and now it's done past Black Adam in 3 days. At that point, like a day or two ago, in 3 or 4 days of being in theaters, it passed what Black Adam's done in over a month in theaters.
You want to know why that is? It's because, first of all, you got to remember I'm glad that you asked me that question because a lot of people they don't really watch movie math. The only thing that Grace Randolph does extremely well is her movie math, and it's astonishing on basically the demographics. Now, I knew Black Panther was going to have a phenomenal opening weekend. I wasn't even worried about that. I already knew. Okay, but you have to look at the stats on what this is, though. When she put the statistics out for the people, I already knew. Did you know that the stats were, it was 45% African American and it was only 20% Caucasian to go see that movie? So, right. So if you only got 20-something% of the Caucasian audience to go see it.
Go
I'm
see
talking about Black Panther. I'm talking about Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
I ain't talking about Black Adam. That's big. You gotta remember. But you gotta remember, that's just black people. Now let's flip it over to Black Adam. The median is all even with blacks, Caucasians, and Hispanics. But domestically, it did well for what it needed to do. Not great, but well for what it needed to do.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, a Marvel property is already gonna go, people are already gonna go watch it anyway. Because they sheep. They're going to watch it. It's a Marvel Disney film. They're going to see it. Black Adam is not real known yet. The only people that knew Black Adam was the hardcore DC fans, and they were anticipating that people, because of The Rock, a lot of people like The Rock, and they was anticipating that it would actually get a China showing. Well, now it's not going to get a China showing. Now they're marketing it in Japan. So we have to see what Japan is going to do and how people in Japan are going to gravitate to it. It's going to make its money.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did Black Panther, did that open in China?
No, they're not going to get a China release.
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It's not going to get a China release.
So both of these films are not releasing in China, correct?
Nope.
Okay, all right, continue.
So with that, you have to look at it from that perspective on people that are going out. So when people go out, they're automatically already going to go out in droves. People was already anticipating Wakanda Forever. It didn't matter what it was. They was already anticipating it regardless. So a lot of people don't even know what Black Adam is. And even though Black Adam, and they were, and even though Dwayne Johnson is a household name that a lot of people do like, I had to go with my girl's perspective. She don't like Dwayne Johnson. Right. She just don't. But she liked it, and she said the movie Black Adam was good for her, but it didn't make her satisfied because Dwayne Johnson was in it. She cared about the other stuff, but she didn't care about Dwayne Johnson. I was like, wow, I thought she liked it, The Rock. She don't. Right. That shocked me. So I had to look in the back of my mirror. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. So that means there are people that really don't like The Rock like that. And you have to really take into consideration that there's just people that just don't want to see The Rock.
Well, I think, and this is another thing too, is I think that you're absolutely right about that. But I also believe that he does have a huge fan base of his own. But here's the thing though. I think his star power, right? He's still one man, okay? I think for what this movie's done, that everybody of everything that his star power could do for him, I think that it did. I think that what's going on with this box office is that you've got all of the fans and some of the normies, right? But you've got all of the Rock fans. Let me be more specific. Rock's star power fans, and you got some of the normies. But here's the problem. Now as far as DC fans are concerned, a lot of them didn't show up. And it's not because it's Black Adam. It's not because it's The Rock. It's because it's a DCEU film. And because of the bullshit that's been going on in the DCEU and how they keep bait and switching these movies and the bullshit that's been attached to it. You look at, for example, The Batman. Outside the DCEU. You look at Joaquin Phoenix Joker. Outside the DCEU. Right? You look at any movie, any of the last 4 DCEU movies, this one being the 4th, they have underperformed. And they've all been underperforming since Aquaman 1, as far as I'm concerned.
You got to remember.
And it's on a steady downward trend. And
the only reason why, this is what people fail to realize too, and I'm glad that you brought this up. And I'm going to, so I can correct a lot of people with this. It didn't get China. Why do you think that all these other places have successes? It's not because of nothing else. It's because of China. If you don't get China, right, it's China and the international. Think about it. When you look at the model, I don't know if y'all don't, you can look it up and do your own due diligence and do your metrics for yourself when it come down to movies that go to China. If they go to China, they're going to be successful. Let me give you an example. Aquaman, right? So Aquaman, it did not do well in domestic. It didn't do well at all in the United States. But it grossed, I think it was 750, 775 internationally. And 300 million of that was from China.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So when you
right, and the thing that I'd like to add too is like that I think that a lot of people forget when it comes to the Aquaman 1 is what was going on when that movie was released. There was a couple of things going on. For one, we hadn't got the Snyder Cut yet. We were waiting on the movie. We were fighting for the movie to be released still.
it wasn't a pandemic.
Jason wasn't. Yeah, that too. Jason Momoa was the only person out of the cast and crew and all of them that was being outspoken, that was leaking information, going on having interviews, saying shit that he wasn't supposed to say. Didn't know if he was going to get in trouble for saying it or not. He was a big helping hand to pushing this thing up to the goalpost, and early on. I don't know where we would have gotten in the long run without the things that he did. Him and Zach, when they had it, and he sat down and Zach was showing him that they took a picture of Zach, showing him the camera and shit like that, and all the stuff that he did, right? He had all the hardcore DC fans, most of them, on his side, the ones, especially mainly Snyderverse fans, combined with the fact that we weren't in a pandemic, combined with the fact that, the Snyder Cut hadn't even been released yet, and like I said, everybody showed up for the film, and it got a China release as well. Some people that domestically, the normies might not have showed up in the States, but the hardcore Snyderverse fans and the international folks in China all showed up. And there was no pandemic. There's a lot of variables to this movie, but ever since this movie was an anomaly, because this movie wasn't no masterpiece neither.
What you talking about? Which movie you talking about?
Aquaman 1.
Well, you have to look at it from this perspective too, and you have to look at it from different type of audiences when you look at it, because even though Aquaman might not have been great in your eyes, in your estimation, and Aquaman was an okay film.
No, it was okay for sure. It was
right. You have to look at the dynamic too. The reason why it was so successful in China. Well, first of all, James Wan was a director.
Yep.
That's the first thing. So they came out to support James Wan. That's the first thing. The second thing was that it's so water centric. A lot of people that's in that region, they love movies that's about water. Don't get me what it is. It's just they love movies about water. So you got to look at it like that. That's another thing. Now, for instance, I could just take my girl for instance. She loves water. She loves the ocean. Aquaman is probably one of her favorite DC movies because of the water. You see what I'm saying? Right. So you have to take into consideration on what people like. It may not be to your liking. It may be odd to you, but it's not odd to them. Right. And on top of that, you have to look at the factors on why the movie was successful. Right. If you really want to, if you really want to get technical with it all, you can look at all movies. All you gotta do is look at the metrics, look at the numbers. It's gonna tell you why. And then once you find out about those people cultures, so just like let's go with Black Adam right now. It has a $350 million worldwide total, right?
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Right now, for that movie to be successful, we gotta get another $100 million.
That's what I wanted to touch on. Yep.
Right. I think it could get it in Japan. Because I'm gonna tell you why. Because people in Japan love Dwayne Johnson. Okay. And on top of that, you have to look at it from that perspective too. See, Japanese people are not Chinese people. Japanese people like that anime and comic stuff. To the opposed of people that's in China, they iffy with it. Because they're controlled. Right. They're not controlled in Japan.
Right.
So they're going to actually see it. Even though it's a smaller country, they're going to go out. And they still got to do other showings in other countries for Black Adam. So I would say Black Adam will be fine. As long as it get to I said it was probably going to make 700. And the only reason why I said that, because I really, really thought it was going to get a China release.
I wish, and look at, and I'm not, I don't want this. I just want to be clear again. Like, I don't want this movie to do bad. You know what I'm saying? Dwayne was real passionate about doing this, and he got Henry Cavill back, and the movie wasn't a masterpiece, but it was okay. And and I like the fact that he was really trying to establish himself in the Man of Steel movie universe.
Right.
I really appreciated the aspects of the movie, just without everything else, dumbing it down, stripping it down to the bare minimum. And I don't want it to, but what I'm saying is I guess my question is, Prime, is so say for example, which I'm sure this movie will do more, but say this movie leaves theaters, right? And no matter what it makes, say for example, just what if it don't even hit 400 million? Should James Gunn, David Zaslav, and DC Studios and WBD, should they be concerned moving forward? No.
Again, like I told you, you gotta remember, everybody's finally starting to go back to the theaters, for one, and then for two, you gotta remember we're in an inflation. We're basically in a recession. A lot of people ain't spending a lot of money.
Right. So
you gotta look at those factors. So, and then on top of it, I know there's some people, that'll say, so you gotta look at those factors. Black Adam will be fine, man. All they gotta do is make 150. If they make 150, if they make 450, if they get to 450, 475, they're good. They're good. That's all they gotta do. Even though it's 100. Right.
Say the movie loses 50 plus million though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Because every Marvel movie that's came out, even the ones in the general audience and critics alike, are finally starting to slowly come around, and they are not getting outstanding reviews for every cookie cutter film they put out no more. But you look at the last Spider-Man movie, you look at the Multiverse of Madness, you look at even Wakanda Forever. These movies have no problem getting to 700 million for all of these movies, and plus 700 plus. So I do know that some of it there's variables, and like you said, but what I'm saying is that it'd be one thing if it was just this movie or just the movie before, but this has been a downward trajectory since before the pandemic. And Marvel is not having this same problem. And I know that their people have been trained, their content, it's been branded into their brain, and people just come just to come because Marvel Disney's on the stamp. But even with that still being said, I still just wonder, maybe they should be concerned to a degree.
Well, go ahead, Jim.
And this right here is really what I wanted to say. Ray says this right here. Remember how the first Suicide Squad did well without China? Now that right there is really why I don't. That really is the reason why I don't equate China as big as everyone else.
You have to.
Now, Prime, I do understand.
I'm gonna give you a rebuttal. Go ahead. I'm gonna tell you the reason why Suicide Squad was successful. Why it was successful without China. Go ahead.
Now I do understand what you're gonna go and do with that. You're going to say Joker and Harley.
There you go.
Now that's an easy one right there. But the thing is, you have to also think about these other movies that haven't been released in China that also were successful. You have the prime example of this being Joker. And the reason why I bring that up is because rated R movies historically don't make $1 billion because rated R movies typically don't go to China. And that to me, and there's also been a bunch of other rated R movies that have made more in China, made more without China, and other movies that haven't. And the reason why I bring that up again is because still, you have to consider the factor of this. You really have to consider this factor. Martin Scorsese, there was one thing that came out that that came out before the official release of Black Adam came out. And everyone should know what it is. The return of Henry Cavill as Superman. Now, and I really do bring that up because, again, this is like this should be a huge thing, leak or not. Because you're like, wait, Superman Henry Cavill is returning as Superman again? And that should have been a huge drove because everyone was asking for Henry Cavill to return as Superman. And we got that. Now I want to bring you to something interesting that Martin Scorsese said about post-credit scenes, because this is another huge factor, and Marvel movies does this a lot. They have post-credit scenes, and they're essentially, and Martin Scorsese said this, and I completely agree with him, is that post-credit scenes are essentially kind of a commercial advertisements for what's to come next, and because that's what post-credit scenes are supposed to do. They're supposed to excite people about what the next project is. And really, once you consider that factor, you see why the MCU does it as often as they can, because it does hype people up for the next project at hand. And you're looking at the DCEU slate as of 2023. As of now, you have the Flash and Aquaman, and you also reminded me of that weird movie that I completely forgot, which is Blue Beetle. I actually forgot Blue Beetle was a thing that's supposed to come out. So thank you for that reminder. And really, looking at the 2023 slate as of right now, you have Aquaman going through a bunch of reshoots and kind of like a controversy. You have to at least I'm considering all the factors here, that you have the Flash and Aquaman that people are still iffy about. They don't really know anything about it. All they know is that there's a whole bunch of reshoots going on for both movies. And as for Blue Beetle, I don't think the general audience knows a lot about Blue Beetle as well. But it's also in the factor that I think a lot of people have kind of forgotten about Blue Beetle. As much as I am excited about Zolo being Blue Beetle, because I actually do love him in Cobra Kai and really can't wait for his performance in Blue Beetle, people have really kind of forgotten about the Blue Beetle movie happening. So it's really kind of interesting on that aspect, which is really why I really am interested in what the slate is for 2024, because it's going to be how are you going to pick yourself up from that?
Well, what you're saying that I believe that they're going to showcase a slate momentarily. If it's not at the end of this year, it's probably going to be at probably the springtime of next year. I think right after Shazam 2 comes out, then, because we're going to be heading into the Flash in June. So I think that's when they're going to do their slate, probably in the summertime. They're going to present their new slate. So you got to remember, there's 3 DC movies coming out next year, 3. And that will be the year where they can keep the hype going with introductions, letting people know. Because the thing that happened with the old regime was their mistake, not only with interfering, which was a bad thing.
Yep.
They should have introduced a slate.
Yep.
So people would know what was coming. They did not do that because people. You know what? Fuck it. This is what I believe. People are stupid, and they, you know, it's evident because of this country. Okay, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, then it is what it is.
You mean
But
politics in general?
Politics, yeah. What people stupid, man. So you have to look at the whole situation of that. People have to have things mapped out for them, so they will know. They have to, because, and what you were talking about, the post-credit scene, and which is good too. That's why DC is starting to do post-credit scenes. At first, I was like, well, they don't need it. But then at the same time, it makes a lot of sense because, again, we have a lot of stupid people. If you got post-credit scenes, it just let people know what's next to come. So it makes sense for you to do it, but you didn't have they didn't want to mirror what Marvel was already doing with their stuff. They wanted to be a little bit more sophisticated and more grounded and more mature, which I get.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you gotta understand, you got a lot of stupid motherfuckers, man. So you got to spoon feed them. You have to. If you don't spoon feed them, they're not gonna know. Because a lot of people, their attention span is a bucket of mush.
Right.
So
you know,
you gotta look at it like that.
And with Blue, like, listen, like, and this is my thing though. It's like I said, you know. The release date, you know what I mean? A lot of the times, you know, Black Adam may come out, you know, this time of the year, things slow down, you know, people don't rush to the theater the way they do in the summertime. I mean, they do, but they don't, you know, but some of them don't. You know, that could have been a small factor with the Black Adam. But what I'm saying is, with the rock star power, right, and Henry Cavill's triumphant return, you know, couldn't get this movie, you know, to so far. I mean, they might, you know, even if it's profitable, they won't be very profitable, you know. And right now, they got.
But strong arm. You feel the factor this in too. A lot of people are not on social media. They do not be on their social media, and they don't see it. If you're not advertising this stuff on TV, let me give you an example. All right, let me give you an example how people would have known about Black Adam, even though they did a fantastic campaign trail. But this is the problem: you got a lot of people that don't have, so they don't be on their social media like that. Let me give you a perfect example. This is the average person on what they do, because I know people. I ain't talking about the people that will be on it. Like me, I'm on my Twitter all the time, so I'm going to see it. I'm on Twitter. But I'll give you an example. On my Instagram, I'll go on my Instagram. I'm hardly in my Instagram. I don't like Instagram. I just keep it. I'll log into it, check my messages. I might look at the feed, scroll up and down, check it, and then I'm out. That's what the average person does on their social media. They don't be on it, depending on what platform that they're on and which one that they like. They're not going to even see that stuff. They're just not. So you got to take that into consideration. If you're not campaigning this stuff on TV, and I don't know how many TV spots Black Adam had. I don't even have a recollection of it. So
I've seen a lot of advertisements for it on YouTube. And I seen it
TV,
on
not YouTube. Yeah, it has to be actual
I seen it
TV.
On HBO Max, advertising it. Not for HBO Max, but just like as an ad.
Right, that's not TV.
Right. You know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't. You know, I don't know where all the I don't know how the advertising it was or how it was ran. I did see advertisement for it, like, you know, obviously on Twitter and shit, you know.
Right.
I don't know how much, like I said, I ain't gonna try to challenge you on that, because I honestly don't know how much where they advertised it, how they advertised it, you know, what they, you know, I don't know. But I did see some advertisement for it, but
right, that's what I'm saying. If it's not on, for example, I'll give you a perfect example of how advertisement goes. See, everybody only goes with one platform, which is social media. You can't do that. Just because you see the views on YouTube and you might see it all over, a lot of people don't be on the internet. A lot of people don't watch YouTube. You got to look at it. Just because people view, you got to remember, a lot of people don't be on that. They look at TV. So let's just say you got an event on TV. I'm gonna give y'all a perfect example. Remember when the Super Bowl was on?
Yep.
And that what was that Cloverfield paradox?
Yep.
You remember that?
Yep.
You want to know why Netflix and it got so many views? Because they advertised it at the Super Bowl and it was gonna be available after the game. You know how many views that movie got after the Super Bowl?
How many?
It got 300 million views in the first hour.
Wow. Yeah,
that's because they advertised it during the Super Bowl.
That was good marketing right there.
That's what I'm saying, because they marketed it on TV. So but you got to remember, they don't want to market stuff on TV because it costs millions of dollars to do that type of advertisement. On social media, it don't cost shit. You got to look at that dynamic. When they advertise now, they're not going to put a lot of money. They're not going to put a lot of millions and millions of dollars just to do, if I'm not mistaken, for 30 seconds for a commercial. I'm just going with the Super Bowl. To do 30 seconds, those 30 seconds may cost them $5 million.
And and this is important too. Apparently, and I didn't know about this until I looked it up, that basically each Super Bowl year, like let's say Super Bowl 37 happened last year, and then Super Bowl 38 happens next year. Super Bowl 38, the cost for a 30-second ad is going to be way more expensive to do.
Well, that's true. Now I'm going to interject with a person that's in the chat and talk about DC. Yes, DC has the most popular characters. They can't get away with doing with Batman, because I'm going to tell you what the problem is with DC and what the old regime has been doing. The old regime, the problem what they've been doing for the past couple of decades, and has been a problem, and they need to get out of this. They got to stop overutilizing Batman. That's the problem.
I agree 100% on that.
Yep.
That's the problem.
100% on that. Yeah.
And this the thing. I'm in groups. I listen to people. I pay attention. You know what's so sad about them overutilizing Batman? They think DC is Batman and Batman alone.
That's how it's been. And I'm sick of that shit.
You see what I'm saying? That's the problem. It's been like that for too long. If you go back and watch the animated movies, everything that you watch, they insert Batman in it.
Yep.
Anything that they do, they insert Batman because they know Batman sells. Don't get me wrong. Batman is tight, but you're taking away from the other characters so people can know from it. Yeah. What's so bad? People think Batman is the leader of the Trinity. He's not.
And really to make a huge example of for sports fans, like this is essentially making like the NFL, like this is essentially saying like this is essentially what it is. Like let's say Tom Brady is the captain of the entire NFL. Like let's just say that for an example.
Yep.
Like so you have so everyone knows Tom Brady. Everyone is going in on Tom Brady. He's making a lot of sales with his merch. And then you have Andrew Luck who comes in and he's a new player, and they're saying, hey, let's try to bring in new talent. With the NFL is saying this, let's bring in new talent. Let's try this Andrew Luck kid out, and Andrew Luck doesn't sail, and the reason why that is because they use Tom Brady too much.
Well, I understand your analogy, but that's true though, because the more successful that you are, the more people know. Like, for instance, everybody know Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He a bad man. But you got to remember, if you're not outside of football and you just enjoying the game, you got some people that don't even know who Aaron Rodgers is, but they know who Tom Brady is.
Yep.
But they know who Tom Brady
is.
Right,
But-
because they know who pay man. We want to know why? Because the way they were marketed, and at the same time, they are all pros. So people, and you got to look at it like that. So that's just like saying there are certain players that are just going to be good because of their market and for their success. So that's how people get known because of that marketing. It's the same thing with movies. It's the same thing with the DC stuff. It goes back to what we were talking about the Batman stuff. They Batman so much, and this is another thing. This is the main reason. The only reason why people know Batman so much is because every single DC movie that has came out has been Batman. There ain't been. I'm talking about everything prior to 2013 has been what? Batman. And the only Superman movie that we got was in 06.
Yep.
And then right after 06, what we get? The Nolan trilogy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
You got from 78, you had 4 parts of Superman. Then in 1989, you had Batman. So we had Batman. Then you had Batman Returns. You had Batman Forever. You had Batman and Robin. Trash. So you had that. Then right after that, what did we have? You didn't have no DC movie. Well, they had some in the 80s. Of course, we had Supergirl. Trash. You had
Catwoman.
Trash. And the only good thing about that movie was Halle Berry. She was outstanding.
Oh yeah.
That's it. So when you look at the movies that they tried to put out, and you saw what it is, what was it? It was a motherfucking Batman-centric. Catwoman is in Batman's universe.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have to look at stuff like that.
That's
People don't
squeeze.
Huh?
That's Batman's main squeeze.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is that they regurgitate and they do everything in Batman's universe. And last but not least, while they was doing all that shit, the Batman animated series ran for 10 years.
Yep.
It really wasn't that other good DC stuff animated wise outside of, well, of course, Justice League and
then what came out after that?
Superman animated was cool. It was nice, but it wasn't up there with Batman animated because everybody watched that shit. So everything that they do with Batman, they just market that shit because people just love Batman. If they start narrowing down Batman and they take him out, you will see. This the thing. You think Batman got a great story? Shit, Diana got an even better one.
Yep. And speaking of Wonder Woman, like, it's crazy that we are now getting a Wonder Woman video game. Apparently a Wonder Woman video game has been asked for years.
Yes, it's been asked for ever since 19. Wonder Woman game was asked for ever since 1995.
Oh wow!
Yes,
wow.
A Wonder Woman game has been asked for since 1995, yo.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah,
yes.
that's
the same thing. Think about it. The only thing you got from Wonder Woman besides the movie, which came out in when? 2016, right?
Yeah.
The Linda Carter show was in 1979. 1977 to 79.
Damn.
You gotta go figure and do the math.
So there's like a huge gap with Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Yeah,
because they never.
Because part of that problem was Batman, fucking Batman. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because because they say he's easy to do. I get it. Because he's just a man. He ain't got no powers. I get it. But the simple fact is that they keep on regurgitating that. And that's been the problem. They gotta get away from that. I'm not saying nothing wrong with Batman. I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. The thing is, his Rose Gallery is off the hook. But you got to get away from that. You shortchange the other characters. And you don't even get I would tell you this. I'm gonna tell you a comic series that is so fantastic and people need to read it. I know Jeff started to read it. I try to tell you strong things. I don't know if you started. I'm gonna tell you why Deceased is so fantastic. You wanna know why Deceased is so fantastic? Because Batman get taken out in the third page.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Batman is gone in the first book. He's done. Batman is gone, dude. He's done. So that's what I'm saying. They took Bruce out like that.
Yep.
So my thing is that, and once you read it, you see how the other characters stack up. Yep. You see what I'm saying? Like when Diana got transformed, that was bad idea. That was bad news.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that's what I'm saying. You have to look at the other characters and let them get their shine. And this is the problem. That's just like on some of the other characters. Like we saw Black Adam.
Yeah.
But with a see in Black Adam, the character that everybody wants to see is Dr. Fate, right? A lot of cats don't even know Dr. Fate.
Exactly.
Was one of the original.
He was as soon as they introduced him.
Right, but Dr. Fate was around.
He's OG.
Right, he was around. He was introduced in 1940.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. People don't even know that. All they know was Doctor Strange. No, Dr. Fate was first.
Yeah, Dr. Fate really was first. Like,
Dr. Fate was first. He was just in these adaptations. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? He was only in a lot of books. He was just in a lot of books. He had his own book for a little bit, but he was and he was mainly made more famous because he was with the Justice Society.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm telling people. And if you really want to get a character that people really gonna get into, get Hawkman, the Thanagarians, Aaron Carter. People don't even know that. You know what I'm saying? He don't die. He gets reincarnated.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He goes all the way back to the Egyptian times with Khufu because he gets his spirit and all that shit. Motherfuckers don't know that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even the Justice League, the animated series, touch on that.
Yes.
And that was even before I read the comics and found that out that was actually comic accurate.
Yeah, and his story, his origin, Aaron Carter, I can't even think his name. I just say Carter Hall, he is one of the only DC characters where his story, his origin is confusing as fuck. It is. It's confusing as hell. So that's why they changed it. So that's what I'm saying. People don't know. If you get the story with the Thanagarians on Thanagar and understand what they, man, that's the thing.
That would be insane.
Yes. So these are things that you have to look at when it comes down to DC. DC got way more iconic characters.
Yes, they
people
do.
Think that people think that Marvel is just on this pedestal. Look, there's certain things of Marvel that I got. Marvel is second tier to DC. Marvel ain't got shit on DC. I'm sorry. They just do.
They don't.
They don't. The only thing that they got in Marvel that's tight. Yes, I give you Spider-Man. Yes, I give you the X-Men. I ain't never taken the X-Men away.
Yeah, Spider-Man and X-Men, I swear.
But other than that, you can kiss my ass on the other shit. I don't give a fuck about the Fantastic Four. A lot of people do. A lot of people like the Avengers. I don't give a fuck about the Avengers. But a lot of people do. Okay, because
that's really the thing. Real quick to touch on the Avengers before you continue. Like, a lot of people don't know about this, but the Avengers team, like the actual Avengers team, before the MCU happened, they were B tier. Most of them were B tier, except for two people, Thor and Hulk. Those were the only A tier team of the main team of the first movie.
Mm-hmm. No, Cap was in there too. Forgot about Cap.
Yeah.
You forgot about Cap. Now, Captain America, I'll say this. I was never into the Captain America comics. I know about Captain America, but I didn't know of it like that. I didn't start appreciating Captain America until Chris Evans played the character.
Yeah.
I like Chris Evans as Cap. And he's my favorite character in the MCU. I love Cap. Cap my nigga. Cap is my nigga.
Cap cool. I fuck with Cap too.
Yeah.
I love Cap. But other than that, I would say it's just the way that it is. So far, what people have to understand when it comes down to this is that we just have to wait to see how this stuff pans out later on down the line. Yep. We just have to wait to see how it pans out. Because I think now with Black Adam, all you gotta do is get to 450. If it get to 450, 475, they're good. They're good. They just gotta make that. They make that, they good. They'll probably make $150 profit. That's it. But at least they getting something.
Exactly. And you know, and that'll be all cool and smooth. And I gotta lay my son down soon, so I want to close out with my final talking points, which most of we already went over. And this kind of a question I kind of want to go over with you guys. It's a question and kind of a statement too. Like, you know, so like I said, you know, this movie though, regardless if this gets to 450 million, 475 million, you know, this movie to me is looking like it's gonna break even. I mean, they didn't make this movie. You know what I'm saying? They just putting it out. You know what I'm saying? This is all the old regime. It's not like Zaslav and Gunn, like we went over, is responsible for this movie. But like I said, you know, the fact that we sitting there like, is it gonna break even? Is it gonna break even? You know, with The Rock being in it and Henry Cavill coming back, you know, to me that's not a great sign. And you know, we got The Rock star power, Henry Cavill back as Superman, and there's a lot of people that's been wanting that, you know. So to me, that's a little, at the very least, a little concerning. And then looking forward, the main thing I want to say is looking forward. We got to remember there was no controversy surrounding Black Adam. You know, you've got a very iconic man playing Black Adam. And you've got Henry Cavill, besides him being Superman, all that shit, it's Henry Cavill's star power has skyrocketed since his movie in 2013, debuting as Man of Steel. You know, and there's no controversy surrounding this movie, right? And we've got, looking forward, we've got The Flash coming out. Lots of controversy surrounding Ezra Miller, as well as many reshoots. We've got Aquaman 2 coming out. Lots of controversy surrounding that movie, including massive reshoots because of it, you know, and controversy because of Amber Heard. Where'd Prime go? Dropped out. So I guess my question is that, there he is. Let me add him back to the stream. He dropped out. So like I said, you know, this movie had zero controversy around it. You know, we got two very large stars in this movie, and no controversy. And we're sitting here counting down the days, watching the box office, hoping this is going to break even. And to me, you know, that's a little worrisome. And what I'm thinking to myself, whether this thing makes its money or not, is you know, should we be worried? Because these upcoming projects, at least 2 out of the 3, and you know, have severe controversy surrounded around them, combined with a broken DC fan base. And then let's talk Shazam. Okay, the first Shazam made about $90 to $100 million profit, roughly, when you add up the budget, the marketing, and the little cuts and shit the theaters take. It made about 90 to 100 million. They projected when that movie came out, it was going to make way more than that. Yes, it made its money. It made enough to make a sequel. But here's the thing. DC's been on a steady downward trajectory since then. Okay? That movie was not a banger by any means. And it, you know, there's a very good chance that the next Shazam movie, the first Shazam, could have just been beginner's luck, like a curiosity, got everybody to come see that, because it didn't, by any means, it way underperformed, but it made enough profit to warrant a sequel. So what I'm saying is, they can't, as far as I'm concerned, unless they come out and flat out say during the advertisement, we're going to have fucking Wonder Woman or Superman or Batman or some shit show up in Shazam Fury of the Gods, I don't think the WBD can bank on that to do anything more than warrant making them their money back they spent on it. And with the other 2 DC projects coming up, there's severe controversy surrounding them. And we just had a movie come out with 2 of the biggest stars on the planet right now in it, with no controversy. And we're sitting here waiting, trying to see if it's going to break even. Thoughts on all that? And again, one last time I ask it, should we be concerned? Last thoughts on it.
Really, guess I'll start. Really, my last thoughts are really it is kind of weird. It really is kind of weird seeing how a big return in Henry Cavill's Superman coming back is kind of like, and still kind of gives us that is it going to break it even, is it not, sort of thing. And really like I said, and really I do agree with you, even though I do like Shazam to this day. Like I do still like Shazam to this day for what it is and as a movie itself. And it's still kind of like, is there really going to be anything good? It's still kind of questionable about like really what the box office is going to be, because like you said, for the DCEU movies, like not DC in general, but in the DCEU realm, it has been in a steady downcline. And also when you consider the factor of the two controversies going on with Amber Heard and Ezra, and really just those two movies in general, with the amount of reshoots they're doing for both of those movies, I really do hope they do well. But it's just like looking at it on paper and what we have of right now. I do hope that they are successful, but from the looks of it, it's not looking good. It's not looking good for them.
All right. Well, I appreciate your take, Jeffrey. Prime, I'm most curious to hear yours.
Oh, I'll say it's nothing to really worry about. I think pretty much everything is going to be fine. I think everybody focuses on the actual box office too much, and it's not thinking about placement. So as long as you want to place these characters and put them out so they'll be notified, so people will know what they are because it's out. And as long as you do well enough to make a profit, because a foundation got to start somewhere. So you got to start from the bottom before you can start being successful. Okay. So and how you set that foundation and how you started off is good. It's cool. My only thing is that, look, will DC be fine? I hope so. It just all depends on how you construct it, which way you're going to go through with it, and so forth. And shit, hell, I mean, it all depends on what you're going to present to the people and what you're going to get. If you're going to go cheesy and you're just going to mirror another company's way, that's how you're going to fail. Yeah. If you don't do your own thing and your own style to differentiate yourself from the competition, then you can win that way being different. But if you just trying to mirror something, no, because we all see it. Everybody's starting to get sick of Marvel. They're seeing it.
Yep.
They're getting sick of it. So, and righteous to be, I'm one of them. I don't want, everybody knows, I put it out there, I don't want to watch a Marvel movie, and I'm not. So I'm not interested in seeing them. I said I was going to go see Wakanda Forever and Blade. Blade is definite. But Wakanda Forever, I still ain't seen it yet. Okay. And I'm hesitant to see it because for the simple fact is that I already know it's woke. It's woke as hell.
And so I got more bad news for you about Blade. I don't know if you've seen all the news that was reported on. Apparently, the Blade movie has been hijacked, and the people that they're now having pen the script are woke female activists.
Oh, now that's new to me.
If that so happened to be the case,
like I said, look, I'm like I could have got bad information. If you look on Google hard enough, there's quite a bit of different, not quite a bit, but there's a couple of them out there that are brand new that just came out about that, about the fact of why the Blade movie suddenly came to a halt, production on it or whatever they were, whatever you want to call it, whatever phase it was in. and that basically they're redoing the script from ground up, and they're getting new writers, and they got the names of one of them, and the person looked them up, and there's some kind of woke female activist or something that got helping pen the script. Again, like I said, that could be bad information. I could be, or I could have just got a site that was feeding a couple of, but it was two or three different spots was saying the same thing. But you know how that goes. One person could have put out bad, and they could have just followed suit and copy and pasted.
That's true.
But how do you feel about hearing that? If that turns
just hearing that, I'm gonna close up because I know you got to get to your son.
Yeah.
But just with closing that up or whatever, like I said, all this stuff that's woke, I'm not interested in nothing Disney. I don't care about it because I already know their objective and what they want to do. I'm not trying to give these fools no money. Besides, I'm not wasting my time. I'm gonna tell you why. I told Jeff this, and I told everybody this. I told myself, like I said, I wasn't watching no more Marvel movies. I watched that Thor: Love and Thunder. Already knew what it was before I even watched it. The only reason why I watched it was because I had got Disney Plus for $2 for the movie. That's the only reason why I watched it. My girl said, you know what? Let's go ahead and check it out. We watched that stuff, man, for the first 15 minutes. She said, turn this shit off. But I finished watching it. It's trash. The movie is trash. I already knew it was trash, but I'm not paying for it. I got Disney Plus for $2.
Right.
So,
right.
The big deal. I watched it. So I wasted my time watching a movie that I already knew that was going to be trash, but I watched it, which I already knew. So I'm not going to waste my time with no more Marvel crap because I already know what it's going to be. It's bull crap. Now, will I entertain and watching Wakanda Forever? No. From people that I trust that have watched the movie and I trust their outlook, I already know it's trash.
I've heard the same thing, and I'm skipping out on this one. I've seen the first one, I very much liked the first one, but that was a different Marvel then. But and now they've went full on retard.
I'll put it to you like this: my cousin is a philosopher. He went to go see it, and he said, he was like, look. He said a movie is so woke. They got the women like they're trying to be men. They took the masculinity out of the men that are in the tribe. And the bad thing that makes it even worse, why didn't they just recast T'Challa?
Yep.
Why didn't they just recast it? They didn't want to do it because they had an agenda to make it woke. It's all women. They pretty much took all the men in Wakanda and put them to the side. That's what he said.
Did he say anything? Did he say anything about M'Baku?
He said M'Baku was basically not even in the movie.
Oh wow! Wow.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Wow.
They pretty much made M'Baku like a shell of himself. That's what he said.
Wow.
Wow. That's wild.
That's when he said that, he was like, cuz I know you probably gonna watch it for yourself, but I trust him because we pretty much on the same page. And he was like, no, they pretty much, he said it's woke as fuck. It's emotional. He said it got some good moments, but they made that movie so woke. They pretty much took all the men in Wakanda and put them to the side. And he said, that's all I need to hear. I was like, nope, I'm not interested. And he was like, they could have easily made M'Baku the next Black Panther.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. That's
what
I was hoping.
Yeah.
Nope. He said nope. They pretty much made M'Baku a shell of himself. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He said they made M'Baku like a pussy.
Oh wow.
I was like, what? He was like, yeah. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. So I was like, no. And pretty much one of the big highlights of the first Black Panther was M'Baku.
Yeah.
And he said they completely changed his shit. They made him a pussy.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, nope, I'm good. I'm good.
Wow.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. So I'm like, hey, it is what it is. I'm good. So, but yeah, other than that, I think DC will be fine. Just give it time. Next year, we only have a month and 2 more weeks of this year.
Yeah.
I think 2023 is going to be good. Starting off with Shazam. That's in February?
I think
And
March.
then March or February, one of the two.
Yeah, it's March.
Hey, I got one more. Last thing I'm gonna say is we'll talk more about it later. Is you guys realize in I think it's 3 or 4 days from now, they're gonna reveal whatever this probably ain't gonna be much, but this untitled WBD event film is.
You said what again?
In 3 days, 3 or 4 days from right now, they're gonna reveal. Supposed to reveal whatever this untitled WBD event film, supposedly.
Supposedly, I would say this.
It could be, man. It could be a damn a new Tom and Jerry cartoon, man.
Right, it's gonna be something. I would put it to you like this, so people don't get discouraged. And I know everybody want to have the haircut or whatever like that, but so people can understand how this transition goes before people plan out. And I know Strong Freak, you probably don't know this, or Jeff, or y'all do know this, but I'm gonna let y'all know how this got to happen. David Zaslav and James Gunn ain't got no control on if it gets released or not. Do y'all know that? That's up to DeLuca. Right. Right. It's up to DeLuca and Abney.
Okay.
For people that don't know, it's the reason why it's up to DeLuca and Abney because they run Warner Brothers Pictures and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment.
Okay.
So if they're going to release it, it's up to them. It's not a DC Studios problem. It's a Warner Brothers problem. That's the problem that people are not understanding. It's two different divisions. The haircut is still a Warner Brothers property. It's not a DC Studio property. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So anything that's under Warner Brothers, if they want to release it, it has to be under them too. Do I believe that they will release it? Absolutely. Because it's money. Because they ain't got to do nothing to distribute it. Do I think that, like I said before, do I think they're going to put it on HBO Max? Hell no. They're going to put that shit on. They're going to put that shit on physical copy. Why wouldn't you? You're going to make money. Put it up there for sale, advertise it, and that is coming out. That's all you got to do. Now, if you want to put it up on HBO Max, fine, so be it. But they don't want to do that because the streaming wars is declining. Because a lot of people are not signing up for anything. A lot of people pretty much will just go out and go buy it so they'll have it. And don't get it twisted when people say, well, no, the streaming wars is fine. No, the streaming wars is declining. Why you think all this stuff is happening with Disney and Warner Brothers and Paramount? They're doing all these layoffs. They're not making any money. And why in the world would you go ahead and on top of that, that 45-day rule, mark my words, Black Adam is not going to be on HBO Max in 45 days. They're probably going to keep it in theaters a little while longer. They're going to try to milk it as much as they can. So that's what I'm saying. They're probably going to let it go all the way through Thanksgiving weekend to see what they get. That's going to be the main thing, Thanksgiving weekend. And what's that? That's next week. Yep. And you know, people is going to be off and everybody going to be going out to the movies. Okay. So that's going to be the weekend where you're going to see it might be a jump. You say what?
Well, Thanksgiving, you serious about that? Because I don't really know, but okay, we'll find out.
Well, you got to remember, a lot of people are not spending a lot of money, but you got to remember, kids is out of school for Thanksgiving vacation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Kids are out of school for Thanksgiving vacation. And people, for that, Thanksgiving is on Thursday.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. Once you do stuff with your family, and you still going to probably have family members out of town, if they coming out of town, it's on the weekend. You got to remember, Thanksgiving is on a Thursday. You got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. That's 4 days. So it might be a jump and people going to go out. They're not going to probably go out on Thanksgiving for dinner, but everybody going to go out the next day. That's Friday. Or people going to go out Friday.
But we also
me and my girl going out Friday. Oh, yeah, we going out Friday. We going skating. We going to take her to the bowling ring or skating. We going to have some fun.
All right,
but that's what I'm saying.
All right, well, shit. Hey, like I said, you know, I want the movie to do good. Honestly, I really do. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing against it. I don't want it to fail or nothing like that. You know, I paid for it. I supported it. I took my whole family. to see it. It's just interesting. It's always good to have a different perspective on it. Over here, and have some good combos about it. But we'll definitely have to come back to this in the future, maybe after Thanksgiving, do another stream and have you on, Prime, and assess things then, and hopefully it does. Honestly, hope that it does. Me too.
I'm like I said, it's gonna do well. It's gonna make the benchmark. I'm talking about Black Adam. It'll be fine. Just wait till we see this weekend and then the Thanksgiving weekend, and then we'll see where it's at after that. That's going to be the crucial. These 2 weeks are going to be crucial for Black Adam. Wakanda Forever going to make his money. Yeah, he ain't got to worry about that. It's going to make his money. People going to go out until they hear word of mouth. And I'm telling you, they going to go watch it anyway. They don't give a damn.
Yeah.
People going to go watch it. So they going to make their money. But other than that, it is what it is. So, all right, Flix. All right, Jeff. Fellas. I'm out, man. Y'all have a good night.
Yep. Later.